They didn't just kill. They wrote. 4 of the most terrifying predators in history, Jack the Ripper, the Zodiac Killer, the Circleville Writer, and BTK, all sent letters designed to taunt, terrify, and control. But hidden between the broken grammar and splattered ink are secrets they never intended to reveal. Each one sent letters dripping with ego, cruelty, and a desperate need to be seen. From Jack the Ripper's blood-soaked boasts, to Zodiac's unsolved ciphers, to Circleville's venomous threats, to BTK's chilling confessions. These killers used ink as a weapon, and tonight, we're going to explore the messages they left behind, the ones that still whisper today.
Madness and Macabre.
Every letter tells a story. Most of them carry warmth, love, or longing. But a rare few are written in darkness, crafted not to connect, but to control. These are the letters that changed how we see evil. Ink on paper that let murderers speak long after their victims went silent. Tonight, we're opening 4 of the most haunting correspondences ever sent. Each one is a conversation between a killer and the world watching them. And together, they reveal something chilling, that sometimes monsters want to be heard. It's 1888, London's East End, a place where the fog rolls in low, clinging to the cobblestones like something alive, where the gas lamps flicker in the narrow streets, barely pushing back the darkness, where the smell of smoke, gin, and rotting refuse mixes into a kind of permanent haze over Whitechapel. The people who live here work hard, drink harder, and pray that tomorrow will be kinder than today. But in the late summer of 1888, Whitechapel begins to feel cursed. Women vanish into the night, not all at once, but one by one. A whisper here, a rumour there, then a body, then another, and another. The victims aren't just murdered, they're butchered, left in alleys, in yards, against brick walls, under dim gaslight, their bodies marked with a level of violence no one had words for at the time. It was cruelty, but it was also something else, something deliberate, something practiced. Fear spreads faster than the fog. People refuse to walk alone after dark men escort their wives to the factory gates. Women huddle together, gripping one another's hands as they stare into shadows that suddenly feel too deep. The newspapers seize on it instantly. They need a villain, a monster, a name to put on the face of terror. They choose one that will echo for more than a century. Jack the Ripper, a phantom, a butcher, a ghost that walks on 2 legs and slips into the night unseen. And then the letters begin. They arrive not just in London, but across the country. Some are sloppy, childlike scrawls. Others are elaborate, theatrical, almost gleeful. Most are hoaxes from drunks, pranksters, or journalists eager to keep sales soaring. But one feels different. A small brown parcel is delivered to George Lusk, the head of the Whitechapel Vigilance Committee, a man desperately trying to restore order to a neighbourhood drowning in fear. Inside is a folded, stained note. The handwriting is shaky, almost careless, as if the writer didn't bother pretending to be anyone but himself. But what sits beside the letter chills even the most hardened men in the room. Half of a human kidney, still preserved in alcohol, still unmistakably real. Victim Catherine Eddowes was known to have had her left kidney removed by the killer. And this parcel's writer begins with 2 words that have become legendary in true crime history. From hell.
From hell, Mr. Lusk, sir. I send you half the kidney I took from one woman, and preserved it for you. The other piece I fried and ate. It was very nice. I may send you the bloody knife that took it out if you only wait a while longer. Catch me if you can, Mr. Lusk.
It's unsigned. No symbol, no flourish, just blunt horror. Investigators can't prove it's genuine. Yet medical experts confirm the kidney was real, human, and likely removed with skill. Could the Ripper have been a doctor? A butcher? Or was the letter itself the act of a clever sadist playing both sides, the killer and the storyteller? For more than a century, experts have argued over that scrap of paper. Some think it was written by a journalist to keep the story alive. Others believe it's the closest thing we'll ever get to Jack the Ripper's handwriting. The moment he stepped out of the shadows just long enough to say, "I'm still here." And maybe that was the point. Even in death, the Ripper wanted the final word. Was it truly the killer, or just another voice lost in the fog? Tell us your thoughts and theories in the comments below. It's California, 1969, just 2 years after the Summer of Love. The air still carries the scent of incense and freedom, but beneath it, something colder has begun to spread. A shadow that moves from the wooded edges of lovers' lanes into the heart of the city streets. A shadow that kills without pattern, without warning, and without mercy. He calls himself the Zodiac. His attacks are sudden and brutal. A young couple on a secluded road, a taxi driver on a quiet San Francisco night, a pair of college students enjoying a day by the lake. Different victims, different weapons, different counties, yet the same signature emerges. A letter typed, handwritten, sometimes neat, other times frantic. Everyone addressed to the press with the same demand: print this, or more people will die. The first letter arrives in July of 1969. It's addressed to 3 major newspapers, each one containing 1/3 of a mysterious cipher, a puzzle of symbols no one has ever seen before.
I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest, because man is the most dangerous animal of all.
Cold, matter of fact, almost bored. He signs each letter with a strange mark, a circle with a cross through it. It looks like a rifle sight a warning, or a promise. Police scramble. Cryptographers study it. Amateur code breakers across the country sit up late with pencils, trying to play a game that only one man knows the rules. For a while, the cipher remains a mystery. And then, a school teacher and his wife from Salinas crack the first one. They expect a name, a motive, something to bring the terror to an end. Instead, the final line reads,
I will not give you my name because you will try to slow down or stop my collecting of slaves for the afterlife.
If the killings were the violence, the letters were the psychology. This wasn't just a murderer. This was a performer. Someone who needed an audience as much as he needed victims. More letters arrive. Some contain threats. Some include details only the killer could have known. Others carry new ciphers, denser, more complex, stitched with patterns and illusions. Dozens of experts spend decades trying to decode one in particular. The infamous Z340 cipher. The CIA tries. The FBI tries. Codebreakers from every corner of the world try. It becomes a legend in itself, a puzzle no one can solve. Until 2020. 51 years after the murders, a team of 3 private citizens finally cracks it. The solution does not reveal a name. It does not reveal a motive. It simply mocks
I hope you are having lots of fun trying to catch me.
Even in code, the Zodiac remained the puppet master, and so the theories multiply. More than half a century later, we're still trying to understand who he was and why he craved this conversation with the world. Despite breakthroughs in forensic science, DNA, and the eventual cracking of his famous ciphers, the Zodiac's identity remains one of the most enduring mysteries in American criminal history. From 1969 through the mid-1970s, he terrorized the Bay Area, not just with violence, but with his letters, taunts that turned newspapers into his stage and made the public unwilling participants in his game. Even now, decades later, investigators, codebreakers, and armchair detectives are still chasing answers he never intended to give. What do you think? Share your thoughts and theories below. Circleville, Ohio. A small, quiet town surrounded by farmland and cornfields. The kind of place where everyone knows everyone and secrets are hard to keep, or at least, that's how it used to be. In 1976, the town began receiving anonymous letters, not one or two, but dozens, then hundreds, eventually over 1,000. They arrived in mailboxes without warning, written in jagged block letters, all in the same unsettling hand. The messages accused people of affairs, corruption, hidden crimes, and dark secrets. No family was spared. No street was safe. One letter sent to school bus driver Mary Gillespie read,
"You have been watched. Your husband will be killed if you don't admit your affair."
Mary insisted the accusation was false, but a few weeks later, her husband, Ron Gillespie, received his own threatening letter. One night, after a mysterious phone call, Ron left his house in anger and was found shortly after in his crashed truck, dead behind the wheel. The sheriff ruled it an accident, but many in Circleville wondered if the writer had struck again. And as if mocking the investigation, more letters arrived, even after Ron's death. The harassment escalated. A booby-trap rigged gun was found along Mary's school bus route. The gun belonged to Mary's former brother-in-law, Paul Freshour. Police arrested him, convinced they had finally caught the Circleville Writer. Freshour went to prison, but the letters didn't stop. From behind bars, in a facility where his mail was monitored, the same blocky handwriting continued to appear in Circleville. Even the warden received one. Either Freshour was innocent, or the conspiracy ran deeper than anyone imagined. Was it a copycat? A family feud blown out of control? Or a coordinated effort by multiple people who all benefited from keeping the town in fear? Handwriting experts examined thousands of samples. Some said the writing matched Freshour. Others said it didn't. To this day, there's no agreement, only theories. What's certain is that the Circleville letters created something rare. A town terrorized not by violence, but by words. Ink and paper became weapons sharper than knives. For nearly 20 years, families lived in suspicion, watching their neighbors, locking their mailboxes, afraid that any secret, true or not, might next appear in a letter. Sometimes, the most dangerous killer is the one who never has to pull a trigger. Dennis Rader, a name that meant nothing to the people of Wichita, Kansas, until they learned the title he gave himself, BTK Bind, Torture Kill. Between 1974 and 1991, Rader murdered 10 people. He broke into homes, stalked victims, and left behind scenes that haunted investigators for decades. He disappeared after each attack, leaving a trail of fear and confusion, and at times, letters describing his fantasies and crimes. Then suddenly, silence. For more than 10 years, BTK vanished. Some believed he died. Others thought he had moved states. Some wondered if he'd finally lost the urge to kill. But in 2004, the quiet ended. BTK resurfaced, not with a body, but with a message. The letters began again. He mailed packages containing word puzzles, crime scene souvenirs, and taunting notes addressed to the media. Each one was a performance, carefully crafted, dripping with arrogance. Then came the item that would seal his fate. A purple floppy disk sent to a local news station, accompanied by a question for police.
Can this be traced? Be honest.
Investigators saw an opportunity. They replied publicly and lied. No, it can't be traced. Raider believed them. He mailed the disk. Within days, forensic analysts recovered deleted data from the file. Buried in the metadata was a name, Dennis, and a location, Christ Lutheran Church, Wichita, Kansas. The killer had unknowingly signed his own confession. Police arrested Dennis Rader, a church president, a family man, a neighbor. The last person anyone expected. During interrogations, Rader was calm, almost polite. He spoke about his crimes as if he were reciting a church meeting agenda. He explained that writing about his murders gave him a feeling of power, a sense of authorship over the story he wanted the world to hear. Later, from prison, he wrote,
"The dark side is part of me. I feel it when I write."
And that's the thread connecting Dennis Rader to the Zodiac, to the Circleville Writer, and even to Jack the Ripper. The need not just to commit the crime, but to narrate it, to shape the fear, to orchestrate a public reaction, to control the story long after the violence itself was over. For BTK, the writing wasn't an afterthought. It was part of the ritual, a final twist of the knife that let him linger in the public consciousness long after he'd been caught. These killers used letters as weapons, ink and words instead of blades, and their messages still haunt us today, because in the end, the stories they wrote became just as infamous as the crimes themselves. If you have your own thoughts or theories about these cases, feel free to share them below. And if you'd like to join us as we explore more mysteries and unsolved histories, you're welcome to subscribe and follow along. Thank you for watching, and stay safe. If you have any thoughts or theories about tonight's cases, let me know in the comments down below. I'd also love to hear what kind of videos you'd like to see in the future. More letters from killers, unsolved cases, or personal encounter stories. So feel free to suggest ideas. And if you have your own true crime experience or a strange story you want to share, you can send it to me by email. The address is in the description. Thanks for watching, and stay safe out there.